thank you so much for being here. Okay. As you all know, and I've put this fancy thing, advocate of the unborn, and that's me with the beard. So most of most of you guys recognize me because you're my friends. But so this is me without the beard, basically, and I titled this as "Children Just Say No," just so that people would come and get pissed off and say why are you forcing us to not have children? But I'm not a dictator. I'm not going to force anyone. I just want to reiterate that this is a choice. I'm going to quickly take you through all the pros and cons and whatnots of having children, so that you have enough information to make your choice and to decide whether you want to. I'm just an advocate. I'm going to provide you the facts and let you be the judge. Okay, so let's go into the difference first. A lot of people have been asking me when this campaign started, and all around the world, people have been asking me what is the difference, what is child-free, what is antinatalism. There are people who are child-free, but do not know they are child-free. They just simply didn't have children, and they didn't understand the concept, and they have faced a lot of stigma from society. But they simply, they can't say it publicly that they don't want to have children. They always say there's some problem or something. So child-free here is basically a bunch of people who don't want to have children, no matter what the reason. It could be free time, it could be I want to chill, I want to live my life, I want to travel, okay? And it's differentiated from childless, where you don't have an option. That is childless indicating a lack of something. Child-free is a choice, okay? You have antinatalism, which is the belief that having children is morally wrong. So moral, because of the way the world is, because of the potential climate change, because of various other things that can happen to your child. And in case you didn't notice, life is suffering. So all these things that can happen, they believe that it is morally wrong. You have VEM, which is quite an old organization. It's Voluntary Human Extinction Movement, which believes that humans must go voluntarily extinct because we are detrimental to nature, which we are. And that's the idea, that's all they have, they are none of these things. And then you have Ephilism. Ephilism is an extreme, it's the opposite of life. It's L-I-F-E-E-F-I-M, basically. So the idea is that all life is harmful, all life could hurt, and if they had a button that would eliminate all life, Thanos maybe, they would press that button. That's what an Ephilist is, basically. Okay, so let's get into the reasons why you shouldn't have a child, or why it's a good idea to not. Suffering, as I said before. You see, life is different kinds of suffering, in case you haven't noticed. It is right from a pinprick to feeling hungry, to going to the toilet, to doing all kinds of things. You are always feeling some level of discomfort that you want to alleviate. And that is what you call happiness. That is what you call joy, in a way, for most people. So, putting your child through this, when you're going through it, when you're going through a 9 to 5 office schedule and you don't like it, you expect your child to go through the same thing. That is not a good idea. The consent. This is the reason basically I got famous, because people couldn't fathom the idea of consent. Like, how can you take consent from your parents when you are unborn, or conceived, or at any level of this in the embryo? Now, I agree it's not possible to take consent, but to people who are wise, I tell them, if you can't take consent, see, there are often two people involved in the birth of a child. Okay, that's what most people believe. The mother and the father. But the truth is that no one asked for the child. You see, so these two people, and I believe that the child should also be involved. And in India, we have 23 other people involved in the birth of a child. But these two people, and what I want to ask the courts here is that at 18, can I consent to life? It's as simple as that. Okay, dying environment. So, I don't need to say this out loud. I mean, I'm sure all of you have noticed at some point of time that this world is a mess. We are just simply cutting down trees, carbon, whatnot, and things are going from bad to worse. We have a cyclone today that's happening in this, and it is caused by global warming. So, these things are happening. You have potential liability. Potential liability right from people like Arun Shourie to Satya Nadella, with among the most powerful, richest men in the world, have children who are paraplegics. So it is possible anything can happen to you. And of course, they write great essays about it, and they write how this child changed my life and what I learned from having this child. But the point here is that the child is suffering. They don't think about that. That if you had simply not had the child, it would not have happened. And anything is possible, right? From genetic problems to environmental. We don't even know what causes a lot of things, like multiple sclerosis. We don't know what causes it. So you are essentially gambling with life. Now, expensive. Okay. So just do me one favor. Okay. Go and ask a parent how much it costs to raise a kid. Right from the tennis shoes to the extracurricular activities to the donation to the fees to the everything. Okay, come up with that figure and just make your own study and see how much it costs to raise a smart kid or any kid for that matter. Okay, it is a lot of money. Limited resources. I don't need to get into this. Forget world resources. Think about your resources, your time, your money. Okay, your mental space. Okay, which brings me to the next point. Yeah. These are the advantages of being child-free. Like I said, time. You get more time simply. Unless you're a bad parent, then you ignore your child. You have lesser stress. You can live a spontaneous life. I know couples with a child-free India who simply in 3 days they can plan a trip to New York or something like that. I don't know how they get a visa, but they've done it. And generally you can't live a life that spontaneous when you have a child. So there is a certain risk to life. Now you have the career options. The fake glass ceiling, for example. The fake glass ceiling is basically what happens when a woman applies for a job, especially a younger woman, and recruiters believe that she is not a long-term investment in the company. The reason being is because within 3 months she has the right to take maternal leave. Okay? And after that, she put various excuses why I came late, why I'm leaving early, all this thing. Now, of course, it's bigotry, but just think of yourself as a recruiter. Okay, what would you think? You probably wouldn't. Okay, you have to think about the good of the company. So this is another thing that Child-Free India is fighting about. We'll talk about this later. Environmental reasons, less people. I don't need to get now. See, less people is simple. There was traffic when you all were coming here. You all got stuck in the crowd. Okay? Half of the other station is just like it's a mess. Okay, so you all don't want to. All of us, I think, would rather have fewer people around and have lesser kids. Freeing up of resources, again, it's your own resources that I'm talking about. And think about the world. California has droughts. Bangalore has droughts. So if we simply have less people, we'll have more resources, as clear as that, and less traffic. Now, social reasons. This may sound a little conspiratorial, but one less corporate slave. Like most people have jobs, right? And many people hate their jobs. So, if you hate your jobs, how can you have a child who has the chances of going and getting a job? As simple as that. Alright. One less mindless consumer. I've worked with a lot of rich people in my life, and they generally consider all of us mindless consumers. Like they know that ये product तो बिक ही जाएगा market में. These people will buy it. You market it right, they'll buy it. So one less ungrateful kid. Now if I have my way in the world, okay, like I'm going to be campaigning for this. I'm going to be telling people that I'm going to be telling kids that you don't owe your parents anything, that you don't need to give anything back to your parents. I hope children become ungrateful. This is not my objective, but it could be the result of what I'm saying. Okay? And your child is bound to be aggressive and start questioning you more and more. Okay, now you may be like, I want them, they are cute. Like, who are you to stop me and all. But all the cute Instagram pics happen after 4 hours of crying. No mother, okay, will ever tell you, or very few mothers, will ever tell you that it's so hard to have a child, or they will never admit their mistakes, especially after 27 years and they're giving a presentation in front of you. So, next. Okay, maternal instinct is a myth. Now, it's been increasingly proved. This is another excuse that parents give. That we have a maternal instinct, we have a biological clock, we want to, we feel like having children. The fact is that it is a social pressure more than anything. It is increasingly being proved that maternal instinct doesn't exist. Okay, and it came up in the 1800s when the value of children dropped to zero. So children would go out, help in the farm, children would work at the house, okay. So they had some value, they had some economic value. Then what happened is the father used to go to the factory to make enough money for the family. Now what you have to do is you have to, not only the kids had zero value, but you had to pay for the education of the kids. Therefore the child's value went into minus, literally. So how do you justify having children? You justify having children by saying, oh, they are my precious little gems. There is a motherly instinct, there is a biological need to produce children. That is the justification that you create. Okay, and these are the root causes, of course, excuses basically. Who will take my family forward? So this guy came up to me and he's like, "Mera khandan kaun leke aage jayega?" And I'm like, dude, your surname is Dahiwali. What khandan ka naam do you want to take forward? And then of course he had a daughter, so then there was no chance of it. Kids remind me of my childhood. See, I think we are all children. Okay? We all just pretend to be very good grown-up adults. We act very well. So when we say someone is mature, he's just acting very well. You don't need a child to remind you of your childhood. It's stupid. Okay. Someone to take care of me when I'm old. Now, see, there is no guarantee for this. Okay. You have people with, you have elders with three children, all doctors, all in the US. Okay, and these elders are just alone here, or they are lying in some old age home. You know, they essentially some of them are taking each other to the hospital. So what care? You spend so much on the kids and there's no return. Reason to, of course. So everyone's like, why else will I live? I'm like, see, for 22 or 25 years, when you didn't have a child, you were still living. How can you need a reason to live, basically? It will save our marriage. Now, I have one question for the people here. Okay, women often say this, it's going to save our marriage. If we have a child, he gets closer to me. If he doesn't like you now, how is he going to like you with 23 stitches and a crying baby? That's all I want to know. Okay. So I do not get uterine cancer. Now, a doctor has told me this. Okay? Like, uterine cancer, the chances reduce. Even breast cancer, the chances will reduce. I'm like, what is wrong with you, lady? You know, the mortality rate is 100%, whether you like it or not. So, social pressure. Okay. Most of the other stations, social pressure. No one wanted those kids in the first place. Okay? They were just had because everyone would come up with a couple and say, "Arey, ho gaya kya? Good news mila kya?" After the honeymoon, or for various other reasons. A constant pressure is put on these people to reproduce, to prove that you're potent more than anything. And it is very sad. Okay. Here are the practical solutions. Now you'll ask me, okay, now I'm not going to have a kid. Now what? See, it is a changing society. Like, a lot of people around the world are having less and less kids. So you'll have to have newer solutions. Earlier, it was just you have a kid and that's it. And your life was sorted, the child was a step. Now it's like, invest well, first of all. So, put your money in the right place, because only your money is going to come for you. Only your money is going to save you. There's no guarantee that a child is going to do anything for you. And then you have socialized. Okay, so what happens is, a lot of child-free people lose friends. Okay, because their friends just start talking about shit and piss and poop and kg. And these guys are having the time of their lives. They are going everywhere, they are jumping from 18,000 feet with a parachute and stuff. So these guys don't have the ability. So if you choose to be child-free, you will lose friends. It's going to happen at some point of time. So you should socialize well. We have a group called Child Free India, which encourages all of us to talk with each other and talk about our experiences and how society pressures us. Basically a support group. And create a multi-dimensional life, or be productive. Like, it normally happens that when you don't have children to waste your time with, you can do anything you like. I know 3 teachers, all child-free, have 37 PhDs among them. They have 12 to 15,000 students who love and respect them, and they are treated very well in anywhere they go. They have students, like they went to the US, there were a couple of students who recognized them. Oh ma'am, so they lived a productive life. You have stories like a child-free woman in France died, and when she died, the church was overfull. Like there were people had to stand outside the church because they loved her so much. She was so well respected in her community. The number of things that she did in her life, So it's possible to live a life like this. Okay. So now you may be like, I already have a child. So a lot of people are asking me this question. Okay, now I have a child, so what? It's as simple. See, if you want another one, adopt. And I also ask child-free people who want to have a child, like when nature gets the better of you, or you're like, I feel lonely, or I want a child, simply adopt. It's criminal to not adopt, to have your own child when there are 153 million orphans out there, okay, all waiting for a home. So this is how it is. And okay, do not teach false morality to your existing children. So like the way Indians do it, maa baap bhagwan hai, your parents are God, your parents are so and so. It encourages rebellion. It often, when kids will get angry, they'll get frustrated, there'll be a point where they will not speak with their parents. All these things happen. Now in my, everything was questioned, okay? Like from government to parents to love to existence, everything was questioned. So it is good to have a free kind of atmosphere in the house because, and let them all have the information and make their own decisions because they are going to question you more and more. See, kids are getting more and more ungrateful. They are realizing the way things work in the world. And it is going to happen that they will rebel more and more. So it's the only option you have is to give them a good environment. So what am I doing to make India child-free? So we have seminars and presentations. This is one of them, where we start from the top. We hope some of you upper middle class people understand what is going on and why you shouldn't have a child, especially in a country like India. Then a PIL on parental licensing. So this is a part of my case where I'm going to sue my parents for having me, thereby making a legal point on why you shouldn't have children and thereby creating a backstory for the policy that could be created in the future to ensure that people have lesser and lesser children. And a parental licensing thing. So, to double check whether you're worth being parents, you have money, you have a house. It's done for adoption. So why not for, giving birth? Now, a grassroots movement with Child Free India. So, we are starting from the bottom up, basically going to Anganwadis, villages. People in the village have a lot of common sense and they understand that having 4 or 5 or 6 children is not practical. It strains their resources, they don't have money, they are often poor. So the problem is they don't have a choice. So what Child Free India is doing is trying to explain to them that you do have a choice. Even the doctor often doesn't give them a tubal ligation or tubectomy. And we are trying to explain to the doctors that it is not your duty that you are encouraging people to have more child. It is destroying the environment, the country for that matter. Okay. Alright. So finally, it is your choice. Whatever you say, okay, I'm not here to impose anything on you or say I'm a dictator or just do this or shame you for that matter if you have children. It is finally a choice, but you have to weigh the pros and cons properly. Do not consider a child a step. It's not a step, it's a human being. So you get married, fair enough. That's probably a step in your life. But when you're adding another human being, that is not a step. That is a very willful choice. Okay, that's a very it's kind of manipulative in a way. Like you're taking, you're getting someone into the existence. Okay, and that's it. Thank you guys. Thank you so much for attending. I'd really like, if you all have any questions, if we can have a discussion, we can chill, whatever. So that was the idea of this whole thing. Or if you're in a mood for a debate, or I'm sure I can see some people agitated here. So let's get into that. Okay, chalo, bye. Thank you.